So week 8, we're heading into the fantasy football season. And don't you hate having guys in your starting lineup that aren't productive or even on your bench wasting a bench spot? So I'm going to give you 3 running backs that I'm going to drop right now before waivers or 4 waivers for better running back. So the first guy I'm dropping off my roster heading into week 8, this guy's been a total bust, is the Buffalo Bills running back, Devin Singletary. Yesterday you figured he would have a plus matchup versus the Jets, but guess what? He didn't do nothing again. He only had 6 fantasy points. And Singletary, he's had single-digit fantasy points now in his last 3 games. His schedule gets tougher versus running teams, good against the run in New England and Seattle. And Zack Moss, we saw the young rookie come back in action yesterday, and he almost about out-touched Singletary in a game that was close. They had 10 touches each, actually. So right there, Singletary, how many chances are you going to give him? There's better running backs you could get this week on the wire. So Devin Singletary, I'm cutting him or adding him on as a package guy in another trade. So definitely he's my number 1 guy to drop. The second guy I'm dropping, and I see him on tons of rosters still. I know he's still got the name recognition and all, but the stats are still going to go down, I think, as the weeks go on, and that's Adrian Peterson. He's still 64% owned in leagues. He's coming off a 4-point fantasy day yesterday versus a bad Atlanta Falcon team, and I think it's DeAndre Swift's time. We told you to pick Swift up last week, and if you did, good for you, because this young running back is a stud, and I think he's getting the keys to the car now as the starting running back in Detroit. So Peterson, you know, he's a great of all time, but those best days might be behind him now with Swift in the mix. Swift with a 15-point fantasy day. Peterson got the 10 carries, but no impact. You know, Peterson, he's not going to catch the ball out of the backfield, and he's just up there in age. So Peterson, he's a great guy, great back in the history, but I think you could let him go in 10 to 12 team leagues off your roster and get a better running back on the waiver wire this week. So the third and final guy I'm going to cut on my fantasy football roster at running back this week's Frank Gore, the New York Jets. The 37-year-old Gore, he's had a great career, like we mentioned with Adrian Peterson, but it's time to pass the torch. The Jets keep giving him run, though. Adam Gay's a big fan of Frank Gore, but let's be honest, the Jets are going nowhere. Will they even win a game this year? Who knows? But Gore got 11 carries yesterday, but LaMichael Pirine was the better running back in fantasy purposes, was Pirine. Gay said last week after the game he wants to give Pirine the ball more, and that's what he did, and Pirine had a touchdown. So for a team going nowhere and Gore who don't catch the ball out of the backfield, I think it's time to drop Frank Gore. There's better options out there to get definitely on the wire, especially this week. Gore 29% owned, and he should stay around that number because I don't see what's the purpose of picking him up if you start him. The most you could expect from Frank Gore is 6 to 8 points, and that's not enough to get from a flex or running back position to help you win a week. So Frank Gore is the third and final running back I'm going to look to drop this week heading into week 8 of the fantasy football season.